The authorities have discovered the remains of a woman who was reported missing buried underneath another woman's home. On the 24th of June 2022, the Amite City Police Department responded to a tip they received regarding human remains that might be hidden beneath an unoccupied home of 39-year-old Joanna Phelps. The police executed a search warrant on the home, located at 308 South 3rd Street in Amite, Louisiana. Once inside, they observed that the flooring had been recently replaced, prompting them to pull up the boards and do some digging, and they uncovered human remains. The coroner's office positively identified the remains as 59-year-old Angela Stearns, who had been missing for over a year. Deputies arrested and charged Joanna with first-degree murder and failure to report the commission of certain felonies, and she was booked into the Tangipahoa Parish Jail. The authorities have yet to say what the connection may be between Joanna and Angela, and details on Angela's disappearance remain scarce. Police Chief Landrick Francois said our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of Angela. Since the investigation is ongoing, no further details are available, he said. On the 8th of July 2022, 43-year-old Shanda Vander Ark was arraigned on open murder and first-degree abuse charges in the death of her 15-year-old disabled son Timothy Ferguson. The events unfolded at 6:37 a.m. on the 6th of July 2022, when the authorities responded to Shanda's home, located in the 4700 block of Marshall Road in Norton Shores, Michigan, after she reported her son was unresponsive. When first responders arrived, they pronounced Timothy dead at the scene. They noticed that the boy appeared to be extremely malnourished and had bruising all over his body. The medical examiner determined that the boy died from a combination of malnourishment and hypothermia. The hypothermia was due to ice baths that Shanda subjected her son to as punishment, including one on the day before his death. The investigators found a 7-year-old and a 20-year-old also living at the home. Prosecutor Matt Roberts said, the investigation subsequently revealed that Shanda had a number of punishments that frankly were just beyond the pale in terms of what should be administered to a child, most notably the denial of food to the child, feeding the child nothing but bread, and bread soaked in hot sauce and hot sauce poured down the child's throat, and placing the child in an ice bath. He said that an investigation by the Oklahoma Child Protective Services between 2009 and 2012 yielded a recommendation that her parental rights should be terminated. In 2012, she agreed to leave the home and not have custody of the children to avoid a court order terminating her rights. Her 4 children, including Timothy, were left in the custody of her father, and Shanda was ordered to pay child support. The other 3 are now adults. Shanda had a 5th child with a different man. That child, aged 7, had been taken into custody of the state of Michigan. Although Shanda did not legally have custody of Timothy, he'd been in West Michigan since May of 2021. It was noted that Shanda's husband had a stroke and was in the care of his parents. Matt said that this is a tragedy that could have and should have been prevented. Shanda should not have had custody of this child. Matt said that Timothy had some mental disabilities and did not attend school, and instead was homeschooled. It didn't appear that the 7-year-old and the 20-year-old had suffered abuse. The 7-year-old gave the investigators information about what was happening in the home, which led in part to Shanda's arrest. Matt said that the victim's father currently lives in Florida and seems to be unaware of what transpired in the home. Shanda said little during her arraignment, conducted by Zoom, rocking back and forth in her chair crying out when the murder and abuse charges were announced, and she was denied bond. She complained of nausea and said she felt like she was going to throw up. She's held at the Muskegon County Jail, and her next court appearance is set for the 21st of July. If convicted of the charges, Shanda faces life in prison. Daniel Isom is behind bars after allegedly pointing a gun at hotel staff and punching a police officer in the face. The incident occurred on the 7th of July 2022, when officers responded to reports of an armed man at the Quality Inn Motel, located at 3105 Mill Branch Road in Memphis, Tennessee, near the Memphis International Airport. The authorities said that the man, identified as Daniel Isom, angrily came to the front desk and claimed the hotel owed him money, and then argued with 2 employees about the money. When one of the employees turned her back to him, Daniel pulled out a gun and pointed it at her as she walked away. The other employee who witnessed this then called police. Daniel then left the lobby, walked to the back of the hotel to park his vehicle, and pointed his gun at another hotel staff member while still demanding money. Daniel then returned to the lobby, but then attempted to leave when officers arrived. As an officer attempted to take Daniel into custody, he punched the officer in the face. After a brief struggle, he was handcuffed. They found a gun in his right pants pocket and an assault rifle in his vehicle. The police said that the incident was caught on the hotel's surveillance cameras. Daniel's been charged with 2 counts of aggravated assault, 1 count of misdemeanor assault, resisting official detention, and being a convicted felon in possession of a handgun. Hyson was previously convicted for manslaughter in June of 1997. The man is wanted by the authorities after he allegedly stole from a couple while they were in the hotel room asleep. The incident occurred at around 1:30 a.m. on the 10th of July 2022, when the couple and their children were staying at the 4 Points by Sheraton in the 5800 block of Poplar Avenue in Memphis, Tennessee. The investigator said the couple awoke to seeing a man standing at the foot of their bed. When the woman started screaming, the crook rushed out of the room. It said that the suspect fled with their laptop bag, purse, wallets and other items. No one was injured in the ordeal. Police are seeking the public's help in identifying the suspect and have released CCTV images of the man in the hope that it leads to an arrest. On the 7th of July 2022, 70-year-old Robert Lanu of Reno, Nevada, was charged with the 1982 cold case murder of 5-year-old Ann Pham, who disappeared while walking to school in Seaside, California. Robert was Ann's neighbor at the time in a small town of the former army post of Fort Ord in Monterey Bay, California. At just before 11 a.m. on the 21st of January 1982, she was abducted while she walked to kindergarten class alone. Ann was the youngest of 10 siblings. Normally she walked to school with her mum, but on this occasion it was raining, so she convinced her mum and older brother that she wanted to walk a few blocks to school alone. Her body was found on the Fort Ord Army base by Army investigators 2 days later, about 1 mile away from her school, near a shooting range. The authorities said that she had been suffocated and lewdly assaulted. Her murder went unsolved for decades, until investigators reopened the case in 2020 and submitted pieces of evidence in the case for DNA testing. The authorities said that a new type of DNA testing that had not been previously available to investigators was used to identify Robert as a suspect. Investigators obtained a warrant for Robert's arrest in July of 2022, and he's currently been held in Nevada, pending an extradition to California. Robert has spent more than 20 years in prison for other lewd assault charges and was in jail for violating his probation at the time of his arrest for this case. Robert has been charged with 1 count of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and a lewd act on a child under the age of 14. Seaside Interim Police Chief Nick Borges said, "It's a very strong case. DNA has a large part, genealogy has a large part, and circumstantial evidence, in this case, is extremely powerful." He said that the arrest marks the greatest day of his professional career.